My name is Sarah, and I'm 29. I grew up in the city, but a few months ago, I decided to trade the constant noise and cramped apartments for something quieter. I found a fixer-upper house in a small town that seemed perfect. It wasn't in great shape, but it had character, and I loved the idea of making it my own. I spent the first few weeks cleaning, painting, and unpacking. The house felt cozy enough, though the basement gave me the creeps. It was dark, musty, and full of cobwebs, but I figured every old house has its quirks. One day, while I was cleaning down there, I noticed something odd. On the far wall of the basement, hidden behind some old shelving, was a door. It was metal, with heavy hinges and a rusty padlock keeping it shut. I was confused because it hadn't been mentioned in the inspection report, and I hadn't noticed it during my walkthroughs. Curiosity got the better of me, so I tried every key in the house to open it. None of them worked. I even tried prying the lock off with a screwdriver, but it wouldn't budge. Frustrated, I decided to leave it for now. A few days later, I was in the basement again, sorting through boxes, when I heard it, a faint scratching sound coming from behind the locked door. My heart skipped a beat. It was soft but persistent, like nails dragging across metal. I froze, listening intently. "Hello," I called out, my voice shaky. The scratching stopped. I tried to convince myself it was an animal. Maybe a raccoon or a rat had gotten trapped behind the door. I wasn't sure how, but it was the only explanation that made sense. I called an exterminator the next day, and when he came, I told him about the noise. He inspected the basement thoroughly but found no signs of animals. No droppings, no nests, nothing. "Probably just the pipes," he said with a shrug. "Old houses make weird noises." That answer didn't sit right with me. Pipes didn't scratch, and they certainly didn't stop when someone called out. Over the next few days, the sounds continued. Sometimes it was scratching. Other times, it was faint tapping, almost like someone knocking from the other side. It always happened at night when the house was silent. Each time, it sent chills down my spine. Finally, I'd had enough. I rented a pair of bolt cutters and decided to open the door myself. I waited until daylight, telling myself it would feel less scary then. When I snapped the padlock off, I hesitated for a moment, my hand resting on the cold metal handle. I took a deep breath, then pulled the door open. The smell hit me first, stale and metallic, like rust and something faintly sour. The room was small, no bigger than a walk-in closet, and the walls were lined with what looked like soundproofing foam. In the center of the room was a metal chair bolted to the floor. But what made my stomach churn were the stains. There were dark, reddish-brown splatters on the walls, the floor, even the chair. It didn't take much imagination to figure out what they were. I stumbled back, my hand shaking, my mind racing. I ran upstairs, locked the basement door, and called the police. When they arrived, they examined the room and the stains. After a few hours, one of the officers pulled me aside. He told me the house had once belonged to a man who was suspected of being a serial killer. He had disappeared years ago, just before the police could charge him. They'd never found enough evidence to confirm the murders, let alone convict him. The officer assured me the stains were old and that no one had been in the room for years. But that didn't comfort me. If anything, it made me feel worse. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every creak and groan of the house made my skin crawl. I couldn't stop thinking about that room, about what might have happened there, about the man who had owned the house before me. I decided to sell the house the next morning. I didn't care about the money I'd lose. I just needed to get out. Even after moving, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Sometimes, I'd wake up in the middle of the night. Sure, I'd heard footsteps or whispers. Other times, I'd catch myself glancing over my shoulder, half expecting to see someone standing there. It's been months now, and I'm trying to move on, but the fear hasn't gone away. I can't help but wonder, what if he's still out there? What if he knows I found his secret? And what if someday he comes back for it?